Okay.
All right, so we're recording as we speak now, and I think we're good. Okay, cool. So everybody feeling good? Vic, you're good too.
Hmm. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Makita, for joining us today. It's truly exciting to have you on. We've really enjoyed your posts, your social media around there. So, why don't you give our viewers a bit of an introduction about yourself?
Absolutely. About 6 years ago, I left Toronto and moved here to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I was working in banking and just feeling really stuck in life, feeling almost like a zombie every day. I woke up and I woke up, I guess, at some point in life and said something has to change. So it was actually, I call Edmonton the land of milk and honey because this is where like I found myself on so many levels, and the job market was so much better 6 years ago
Hmm.
at that time. So that's where I got my first hint, so to say, called career wise in marketing.
Nice. Well, that's exciting. So, what was that like moving essentially across
I know
the
from Toronto to
from
Edmonton,
Toronto,
total
from
big
big
difference.
city,
Yeah.
smaller city? Was it a shock at first,
Colder
or colder
weather.
weather? Yeah.
I felt a bit nervous. A few years prior to that, I visited a friend here, and I don't know, there was something about the atmosphere that just felt right. But
Nice.
at that time, I just wasn't ready. So I was super excited. I was like, okay, it's a big city. It's very beautiful. It's very naturey, and I just loved heritage and everything that the city had to offer. I was a little nervous at first, to be honest with you, because I was staying with a friend for several months, and then I left, and I finally got my first rental lease here. And I was like, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to have to go back home. And I'm like, I
Okay.
can't. It's just going to be failure. So it was a little
Hmm.
nerve wracking at first.
You know what? Like a lot of entrepreneurs that we've talked to and I've talked to over my lifetime has said failure is not an option.
Yeah.
And you're probably the true story, exactly what you just said. And it's not an option; it's a learning experience. And here you are with like an awesome, marketing company agency. I guess maybe you know, that's kind of like the goal today is to help our viewers and listeners who have small businesses, who are entrepreneurs, and maybe not sure where to start with
Yeah.
marketing, but specifically social media marketing. So we've lined up some great questions for you,
Hmm.
for our viewers. Vic, I think you're going to kick off our first question there.
Yeah. So first question: why should you use social media as like a small business owner?
Well, I really think, especially because of the pandemic,
Hmm.
everybody kind of lives on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. And a lot of people are making decisions on purchasing based on what they see. Not so much the products, but just like personality, ethics, and values that companies believe in. And so I really believe if somebody's not using social media, they don't exist. Like, even if they have a word of mouth pipeline, it's just how can you really scale? And even if you have a word of mouth pipeline, how far will that get you when this whole
Hmm.
world becomes super digital in the next several years? So,
Hmm.
yeah.
So, what are some tips to help like grow these like small businesses like with their social media? Because I know it's like okay, you took the first step of like creating one, but then what should you start posting and how do you get more out there?
I think really the first plan of action is just to share everything. Share what you're doing behind the kitchen if you own a restaurant. Share your about story. Why are you passionate about waking up every day? Share some products and services and just really be accessible to your audience. And that's so easy to say, especially if a company is focusing on selling hot dogs in their food truck,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Mhm.
don't have no idea what marketing is about. But it's just show everything and don't
Mhm.
care about what people think, because that's what consumers want to see. They want to see the beginning to the end process. They want to see authenticity
Mhm.
before a product and a service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a super cool thought. Is we've heard that authenticity come out. Even though you're to your example, a hot dog business, they want to see how that restaurant or food truck was born. Even maybe from buying the food truck to renovation. I think what that really speaks to is just around the storytelling piece,
Mhm.
right? Is there so. So Vic and I, when we were chatting about storytelling, because for us, we're thinking we're still discovering our own story for nom trips and tips appreciated. What would be some tips there outside of just posting a story? Like, how do they start to tell their story?
Mhm.
That's a good one. I'd start with like a feeling or a really deep thought that the person had. And it could be a positive one or a negative one, it does not matter. And then make sure that whatever you do in the first part of your video or your, I would say, let's say a video, you capture people's attention in the first 5 seconds and then lead to the end of the story, like the middle and the end, because sometimes people put it all in the front and then they skip, they close the app, they move on with their day. So just add some feelings, add some thought process, like I was scared or I was nervous. Like these things really are pivoting, they move people, right? And that's really the power of marketing. Then you can move somebody to even, I've had many times where I watched a commercial and I started crying and I'm like, what am I crying about? They're selling like Nike shoes.
Yeah.
But that's the power of it all. So yeah.
Okay. So watching your videos and everything, it seems so fun and like uplifting and just like learning everything. So what are some tips for social media, like or a small business owner to have fun with social media, where it's like not tedious and like, oh no, I gotta post today, or like you want them to be like, let's do it, let's have some fun with this?
I would say jump on internet challenges. Like every app has their own challenges. I don't think Instagram does that too much. I find like the challenges are coming from TikTok. So open up a TikTok account and just pay attention to the same songs that keep going over and over again on the For You page, and take a look at the challenges, apply that to your business. Because if you apply like a challenge where Gen Z are talking about their first love, apply that to your first love of a product or your first appreciation for an employee that's been with your company for 10 years. So jump on challenges because they're fun, they're exciting, they're made for entertainment, but you can still apply some educational aspect to it.
Oh man, I feel so old on TikTok. I'm like going through the pages. I'm like, oh no, like I know we have to do this, but it's like just hard getting started and like trying to, get on that wave and like connect.
Yeah, it's a good point around TikTok. Like when we chatted a few weeks back, Akita, we're like, oh man, TikTok is not just for like dancing and dances and music, but you brought up a great point that it's really a great point to do educational content for business. I think you gave the example of dentists or something like that. Like maybe tell our viewers a little bit about that, on how education could be used on TikTok.
They actually have a section on TikTok called Learning TikTok, and it's at the top left corner, it's like a light bulb. So as soon as you click the light bulb, all you see are chiropractors and dentists and relationship coaches and everything under the sun, like everything under the sun, pretty much. Dancers like doing really bad stuff they probably should be doing there, but there's a market for it, right?
Yeah.
And people are just, again, using the trending sounds. And I've even seen like surgeons like literally act, like dress up like rappers and talk about how Instagram models want to work with them, but they only work with certain Instagram models, and just make a joke out of it, but nobody gets offended. It's just all a joke, right? So just finding kind of your groove, your personality, and just having fun with it, really.
Yeah. So how is the it's a really interesting point again. It's like the audience has changed quite a bit, probably in the last maybe even few years, I would say, in terms of just being more relaxed around the content and what you're serving up. I guess it would be for educational. And I guess the point is that you always have to keep in mind who your audience is, and understanding your audience, and just being you and authentic too. I think you talked about that before too, is just around your audience and your people. So are there any tips you can give about understanding who your audience are?
I spend probably an hour on Instagram for sure every day, and probably maybe 90 minutes a day, like throughout the day on TikTok. And what I do is I watch what people are posting, and then I also look at trends, maybe not online challenges, but what are people talking about on the app? And I also go into the comments of other people that have nothing to do with what I do, and just see how people are reacting. Like every app has its own mindset, really. Like I can look through comments on TikTok and just laugh for like 5 minutes. Like, oh my God, these people are comedians. Like, how could that kid say that? And then I can go on Instagram and just kind of like go on a live, and people start asking questions. And then I'm like, okay, they keep asking these questions. This is what I need to start sharing this month. And I look at DMs, I look at comments, and I just try to study the behavior of people.
Nice.
And I know, again, that's hard to do, but when you kind of start doing it for a year, it just is like second nature. Okay, I know that if I post this is how people are going to respond, because I've been studying everybody that comes into my kind of online community.
Nice. Very cool.
So then you would suggest like a small business owner like test or with all these different types of mediums, like so videos or like posts and everything, or like commenting back. So you would want them to like test and try like what would like fit the most for like their business.
I do agree with that. I find some companies, even like Fortune 500, they don't reply to their comments, and I don't understand why they don't. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even about not replying. It's just like that's insight. Like, data is so valuable. Like, if a big Fortune 500 company like Google were to be hacked, that data is like, that's not even million, that's $1 billion of data.
Yeah.
So like not responding to somebody, that's forget about follower service or customer service, but like that's data. You respond to them, you ask them a question, you just found out emotionally where your audience sits. And that is so powerful. And I think that's where people kind of like fall short, is like they will probably respond to people who they think they're going to buy, but you don't know if that person that doesn't buy refers you to like 10 of their friends and they're not telling you. Just respond and just have conversations, because that's really what it's all about.
Or
Yeah.
if they only respond to people with like a blue check mark, like
That too.
like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's good insight too, but the general public, like you never know who's going to buy from you. Like a Gen Z could buy from you, a struggling mother can buy from you. Like sometimes even your target audience is totally off. And I'm sure that's been the same way for every company because the pandemic, more people are online. So it's like you could have a totally new target audience that you're ignoring, and you have no idea who they are and where they're coming from because you're not tapping into that conversation. So that's really important.
Yeah, it's a really good example. So for me, just a very recent experience, like yesterday, when you talked about that data piece and asking that question is, I follow someone on Instagram, a company, and they posted a new product. And then, but what they did was they put it in like a very nice bag. It's a computer part, right? And then they asked the question of, why don't computer parts get such nice packagings like other brands? And then I immediately replied, I was like, finally, yes, like that's a great idea. I never thought of that. And then you know what? The coolest thing is, to your point, is they replied back almost immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad you love it. And then, but that to me on the other side made me feel so great. Like, oh, but now you're talking about data. I'm like, oh, they were just asking the question. Maybe they haven't rolled out the packaging yet, which is hilarious. But that's awesome. Like that's such a great tip. So Vic and I were looking through a lot of your content, and we talked about we loved it. There's one quote that you put that we love, Vic. I don't know if you want to read it.
Yeah.
To read
It's
out.
Your content needs to be a daily gift to your audience. Can you expand more on that?
Yeah, I think really not even educational, but just like sharing parts of who you are is really so important. And education, like I think sometimes some businesses miss the mark on this, because an educational post, like consistent education, is just like a blog post. It's just like having a YouTube channel, but I don't think that companies really believe that. And then that's where the product thing just keeps showing up on your timeline with the same company. And also too, it's just like little things like do this, you can do this from home, you can do this and change the photography lighting when you do this. It's just like these little things that can save somebody money or build trust in that company that then converts them into a customer or even just a loyal follower for like the rest of the company's lifetime, which is so important.
So sometimes it's just not about selling the product. It's about that
Yeah.
loyal customer you talked about and the engagement, right? Maybe not sometimes,
Absolutely.
a lot of the times, probably, because that's who you want probably as a client or a customer, is someone who truly believes in what you do as well, right? So
That's right.
Okay, so like, what are some tips for getting your personality out there? Like, because watching your videos, like we could tell your personality. You're like really bubbly, but you're like informing us with so much like great information. But what are some like 3 big tips you would say to get out there? For someone that's like, say, for myself, I'm more of an introvert. So I kind of don't like being on video, but I think nowadays you have to be on video. Like, say, our podcast, like we're on video now. Right? So what are some tips?
I'd probably say be enthusiastic. Like even if you're an introvert, enthusiasm goes a long way, and people can feel your energy through the video, which excites them, right? Be yourself. Like if you're a Star Wars fan or you're a Pokemon fan, just put it out there. Like you have no idea. You might attract a brand new audience just because you show them you're a Pokemon fan, right? And I know authenticity, it comes out a lot, but it's so important because we saw last year so many celebrities and TikTokers that were outed because they said something behind the scenes or when they didn't know somebody was recording. It's just like, just be yourself, and obviously be politically correct, because if you say something that might fluff a couple of feathers, it could be downhill for you. But yeah, just be yourself, because that's really what's important. And even if people think you're nerdy, or even if people think you're weird, it doesn't really matter. It's just you're showing up as the true entrepreneur or content creator that you can be.
Yeah, I love
Okay,
that.
great.
I think just be yourself and not maybe worry about the technology piece or thing. It's just you as the person with is most important, and content. So you're a bit of a content guru as well. Maybe if you let the audience know a little bit about Top Writing Services. I think you focus on three core things, and correct me if I'm wrong. Branding, content, and marketing. Are those your three buckets of focus?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, maybe let our viewers know in terms of like if they want to engage you in trying to understand and learn more about this, what's the best way to reach you?
Absolutely. So, company encompasses different projects, from website content to writing social media captions, coaching from a marketing perspective, or even just supporting teams. And best way to reach me would really be on Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn. That's at Yeg Marketer. And yeah, you can Google my name too if that doesn't seem to register, and you'll find blogs I've written in the past and stuff like that. You can take a look at what I've done in the past.
Nice, that's awesome. I love that you said you could reach me on Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn. I think you've covered the bases of how from like super pro in LinkedIn to just reach out with a DM or whatever that might be. That's so awesome. You recently started a YouTube channel as well. Is
Yes,
that recent? Yeah, I noticed that you've launched a few videos. Awesome, by the way. Maybe
thanks.
tell people on how to get to that YouTube channel too.
Absolutely. So I'm under Top Writing Services Inc., and I share a lot of Instagram lives that I upload. And a lot of what I focus on really is just like content development and strategy, and kind of how to find your voice and do product marketing in a real way that reaches people. That's not really authentic, but true to the brand of the organization.
Yeah, that's great. I know that's always the toughest part. Like it's just it sounds easy when you're talking through it, but when you're actually strategizing and planning, I think that's where you need experts and people who've done it in the field to really help guide you, just to get your personality out. But also from an efficiency perspective, I would say like ROI and marketing spend is like people always think about that marketing is expensive, but I think if you invest in the right marketing for your business, it's not expensive because you're investing in you and your business. I think we had talked about that last time too, and that's what we love about you. To be honest with you, it's just you're authentic in the way you come out, and I don't want to overuse the word in this chat, but if you guys have not seen it, like definitely go to the accounts. Check it out. The smile is there. The information and the dances are there, but it's all such great content and tips. So yeah, please do check out Makita at Top Writing Services at Yed Marketer. It's all there. Go to the YouTube channel. Check things out as well. Vic, I don't know if you want to close it off with anything, but this has been super for
No.
our small
Yeah,
business owners.
yeah, exactly. You gave a lot of great advice, and yeah, thanks for coming on our podcast.
I appreciate you inviting me, and I look forward to sharing this with my audience too. And I'd like to return the favor. If the both of you want to be on Canada Business Show, please let me know.
Of
Would love
course.
to. Yeah, definitely.
That'd
I
be
think
awesome.
it sounds like a date. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so the very last thing I'll talk about is the other things you've commented on our feed is around food. so
Oh,
so with some of our other guests, we've made like donut dates and stuff. So when the
yeah.
pandemic's
Nice.
over, we'll have to go have a real coffee or something.
Absolutely.
We'll meet in person.
and meet in person. All
That
right.
would
Well,
feel nice.
yeah, thank you so much, Makita. We really appreciate your time today. And viewers, if you have any questions, comments, please add them, and then we will connect you or try our best to answer it. Thank you again.
Bye,
Okay,
everyone.
thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
bye. Okay. Oh, that's good.